Hey, comic book fans, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a show where we take comic books from the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think that you should pick up. So, it's actually one of the number one resources that you people use to find out when new comic books are coming out. Not our show, obviously, but the internet, and particularly YouTube in general. I noticed we did a poll a while back here on youtube.com/ComicPop Returns, and a lot of people, and I may be biased because it was in a YouTube-centric poll, but a vast majority, like over 75% of the audience, finds out about new comics from YouTube/our show. And so I feel like it's our diligence to make sure people know what's coming out, at least that we think you should buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a call to action, by the way. If you want to know more, make sure to subscribe to this channel right here and click the bell for notifications so that you know when this show goes live, which is usually Mondays around 5 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're catching this on Spotify and everywhere else, well, thank you for listening to the audio show. Anyway, we got a lot of different comics come up to talk about.
Yeah.
I titled this one, There Are Too Many X-Men Comics This Week. Tiffany, talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So due to, I've heard paper shortages. But listen, I'm not working at Marvel, so I can't say for sure. There were some significant shift arounds in some of the books, and in a few of them in the back, you'll see the standard, like, hey, what's supposed to be on sale, right? Like Mortal X-Men #2, which came out this past
Wednesday.
Was supposed to be out on April 27th. So is X-Men Red. And then X-Force 28, which came out this past Wednesday, was supposed to be May 4th. So we had to shift around a few books. And in fact, there are a couple of other books that I have seen in some of these lists. Like there's supposed to be a Gambit #1 that was supposed to be out, but that hasn't come out yet. So it's been a lot of moving around, a lot of juggling, I think, for them. But they did push 7 books this week.
They did
with just mutants involved.
7 books at about $3.99 a piece.
Yeah.
So it's $28.
Sorry, yeah. So we did get Marauders out on time. I think Marauders came out. Maybe it came out a little later than that. X-Men came out. Gambit #1. We were supposed to have Sabretooth #4, which I don't believe has come out yet.
No, that's come out in June, I think.
X-Men #92 was supposed to be out May 11th.
It's not.
Knights of X #2 was supposed to be May 18th. Wolverine did come out, and X-Men Legends #1 was also supposed to come out. So I think they've had to go back and really shift things around. Now, if you're an X-Men reader and you're like, I really love everything that's going on and I want to read all the books, this was a bad week for you, or a great week. It was both.
It was an expensive week.
It was an expensive week. Your wallet was feeling this one, because we had Immortal X-Men, we had X-Men Red, we had New Mutants, we had Wolverine, we had the Wolverine patch book, which we're not going to be talking about today.
I had to make some choices.
That was the one I chose to cut because I didn't read the first issue.
Well, and it doesn't matter, right?
So I think that's the one I'm going to trade weight on.
No, it's true.
So I think that's the fate of that book for me. X-Force came out. Ecstatic came out.
Excellent.
Excellent. Sorry, I keep wanting to call it Ecstatic.
It is Ecstatic. It's the continuation of the series Ecstatic.
So there was a lot of X titles. So we are going to be talking a lot about mutants, but I'm going to try to we'll talk about some of the big points that happen in them, but a lot of them we're just going to be like good, bad, whatever, because I don't want this to be just the X-Men conversation show.
No, but I think if you were to shotgun a couple of the X titles that you don't necessarily want to get into too in depth, that wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
We should also mention this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's show by using super chats. Ask a question or comment here on the show. We're going to be getting a couple of sponsors coming up. So, keep an eye out for that.
I'm excited.
Brian Rowland's Batman the Knight has me hyped for Zdarsky's Batman run as long as he kills Ghostmaker and Clown Hunter. Love all those shows and all those shows on both channels. Thanks, Brian. Listen, I don't think they'll be killing those characters, but obviously it'd be welcome change for me. Ali Al-Ziadi says, Franklin, The Last Ronin was hilarious. Take care. If you didn't catch it, we covered Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, The Dark Knight Returns of the Ninja Turtles over on youtube.com/ComicPop. Give that a like and subscribe as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, thank you.
But also a member of the comic population took the Last Ronin cover and put Franklin on it because that was when Sal was like, "Oh, you guys can guess who it is," and I was like, "It's Franklin."
Yeah.
Because I would love to see Franklin hang out with the Ninja Turtles.
Hey.
Franklin is just trying to be in elementary school and gets a soccer practice.
He's like, what? I don't remember what Franklin's voice is. I think it's just a kid's voice.
It is very much just a kid's voice.
MNNM says, Kieran Gillen is so good.
Yes.
Mortal X-Men 2 and Eternals 12 were so well written. I didn't even mind the universe-changing retcon about the Eternals and the mutants he put in there.
Yes, and we will get into that. That is on the list as well, which is funny because it's the Eternals, and we're still talking about mutants in it.
Yeah, gotta. That's the effect
they're
of
just
the
secret sauce right now.
Well, that's the they were pushing the Inhumans because they couldn't have the X-Men. They were pushing the Eternals because they couldn't have the X-Men. Now they got the X-Men, and let's just make them push the X-Men through the Eternals.
Secret sauce.
And Sean D just got out of the hospital. Very timed. Love you all.
Oh.
Well, welcome back to the land of the
non-hospital.
mobile.
Yes.
But we're lucky to have you back, man. Hopefully you are having a
hopefully
speedy
you're
and consequence-free recovery.
Mhm.
So yeah, man. Really quick, I guess I'll talk about a couple of books. I read Nightwing number 92. Which I think I already had a tab open, but whatever. I'll just do it again.
Yeah, you did. It's
But here we go. Nightwing number 92, of course, from Tom Taylor. And Bruno Redondo is back on penciling duties. And boy, was he a welcome return. The art in this issue is particularly spectacular. Of course, we do the fun element of like incorporating the titles and the credits into the architecture of the page itself. It's more artistic, but yeah, no, it's a fantastic issue. These issues are not. It's part of the ongoing Nightwing saga,
right.
So it's not exactly a fantastic self-contained solo issue, but it is a great chapter in the saga. And every single issue of Tom Taylor's Nightwing run has had some chapter, some little like element in it that makes you go like, this is a fun issue. This really worked out for me. Sometimes it's a Redondo kind of heavy issue where he like really pushes the art on his shoulders and carries the weight. Other times just character moments that just work really well. In this one, it's both. You get a fun flashback to young Dick Grayson as Robin leaping headlong into battle. He's not prepared, but he knows what's right. He does it himself. And the way in which they incorporate the old style, like I was reading it online and I'm looking at the edges of the page, and because it's supposed to be set in an earlier time, what's funny about that is like, Dick Grayson hasn't been Robin at the age they're depicting him in 60 years or more. And yet it looks like the printing on a book from the 90s.
Oh.
Yeah. Not just the coloring, but also the edge work, like around the pages themselves. And they don't look like they just took, search, paper, texture, overlay, multiply. It actually looks like it is just like that printing, that old trade printing, which I was like, wow, I noticed that. That's cool. Little tidbit for the fans.
I like that.
But Nightwing opens up Haven, his park that's dedicated to like the homeless, and Alfred as well. Bruce Wayne's there. Blockbuster shows up, starts some shit. That's your standard, like, current run of Nightwing. But there are some standout moments in it, particularly character interactions. Batman wants to discipline Robin. Alfred won't let him.
Right.
Alfred's like, this is a young boy. He needs your help. He needs to like his father to like be cool. And he does, and it's great. It's solid.
Okay. Has Taylor's run of Nightwing gotten an annual yet? Had an annual?
I don't know. I feel like it has but I only feel that way because Redondo isn't on every issue, and sometimes those issues are like really odd or like self-contained. Right. So I think there was an annual, but I can't speak to that.
Because if there hasn't been, there should be, and they should definitely just get Redondo on it as well as like another way for people to like get in.
Yeah.
To be like to give it a try.
Right.
Because it's a lot less intimidating most of the times to grab an annual and just get a feel for the creative team and then
absolutely.
to jump into the
regular.
Yeah, there was one with Red Hood.
There you go. But yeah,
which may or may not sell you on that.
Not me.
Well, it depends because like that could also, depending on the story.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Be less like of in like an in tone sort of thing.
Exactly.
And I feel like the annual like is a great opportunity to get new readers in, and not like new readers who don't read comics, but like new readers who are
reading regularly,
comics, but not maybe not
skipping
that
out on the Nightwing book.
Yeah,
I agree. Maybe they should have somebody like you working there. Joshua Link, I thought of all the X books were great. Or good this past week, but Immortal X-Men, X-Men Red, and New Mutants were the cream of the crop. Well, out of 7 books, that's not bad. That's a batting average of half. So
yeah, again, the only one I didn't read was Patch, but like I said, it's more that like I think I'm just gonna pick that up and trade, and I hate saying that I'm trade rating on something because it's like I feel bad
sometimes you gotta
about that. But I was like, you know what, that's the one that's getting cut this week.
Yeah. Jeremiah Ward, thanks for your support. And Matthew Terlaga, given how terrible Spider-Man's going to be for the foreseeable future to hold us over, can I ask for some good Spider-Man and beg for the next volume of Ultimate Spider-Man on back issues? That's coming out this week, so you can check that out on Wednesday. I don't think it's going to be terrible. It's just that they're never going to give you what you want. I wrote an article all about it on CBR, which will be out hopefully in the next week or two. So keep an eye out for that.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I also read Shadow War Zone number
Wait.
1.
Do you want to? I got like.
You want to do your shotgun blast of
I
X?
got a couple of them here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got a couple of random things.
Yeah, I think that's
here
worth
as
it.
well. Like, let's just really quickly. This is not next thing, real quick.
Eight-
This was 8 billion genies got cut from my list last week.
8 quadrillion zillion genies.
And yet I had fewer books that last week, and somehow this week I just
Still managed to read
through
it.
them, and I managed to throw this in there as
Yeah.
well. But I just wanted to give a shout out to this book because it's an indie book written by Charles Soule with art by Ryan Brown, and I gotta tell you, like, it's funny, like this cover I don't really think does this book justice.
No, and yet it does encapsulate like
It
what is
absolutely
happening
does.
in the book,
No,
but it
no,
doesn't say the
absolutely
tone.
does. It does not set the tone for this book at all. So this is one of those, like, it's easy for people, especially when you're dealing with wall books, to judge a book by its cover. And I don't feel like this book really would sell it.
No, I don't think it did.
For a lot of people.
But I think a lot of people did. Thankfully, I did hear some buzz.
Yeah.
I can't say that a lot of people have read it, but I can say there has been some buzz.
Yeah.
Which is usually the death knell of certain books. But like, you know.
Yeah, no, it's true. Honestly, this is an interesting book because it's really the concept of this book is something that I'm like, I would like to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I would like to see how this is explored.
Mhm.
And it could go a couple of ways because it's really about human nature and humanity when you get down to what this is about. But like the concept here is that like literally one day,
Yep, every human being
on the face of the earth gets a genie that has one wish. And what would you do with it?
Yeah, and no consequences.
And
it's
no
just
consequences.
It's straight up the
However, the tone or the intent with which you make the wish will be known or displayed through the wish.
Yeah.
So it's like this is honestly very interesting. Very different from a lot of the books that are out there right now, or maybe some of the mainstream books that you might be reading.
Mhm.
But I'd say it's worth it. There's a lot of interesting characters in this. I really liked the bartender. I'm wondering.
He's fun. He's supposed to, yeah.
You're supposed to really like him, I think.
He's
either he's got a dark secret,
or he'll die.
Or
both.
Or both, and that's fine. But if you're looking for just something a little different, that's going to really make you question maybe what you might do, or like what ramifications that might have on the world, it's kind of interesting. It's a miniseries or maxi series, 8 issues. So
that's not bad. Yeah, that's mini.
Yeah, so it's one of 8 right here. I just want to throw it out there. We read it.
Right, great TV pitch. I'm sure is what it is.
Sure, but I actually kind of like it like this.
I like it like this. Yeah, I like it.
Sure.
No, I'm saying.
I also read Excellent.
Yes,
I keep wanting to say ecstatic because both teams are in it.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is on the cover. Doctor Strange really isn't in this book.
Like every book he's in.
I like every book. This is one of those, like, I'm not gonna really get into this. But it's written by Peter Milligan with art by Mike Allred. So listen, this is a team that's gonna bring you, again, it's another book very different than probably what you're reading right now, unless you're going through Doom Patrol.
Right.
Like, or
where's the Peter Milligan, Mike Allred Doom Patrol book?
Right. Mike Allred also did
Madman.
Thank you. I was like, what is his name?
What was it? Yes.
What was
that
it?
is his thing. Yeah. And Silver Surfer with Dan Slott, of course.
Yes, but I was thinking specifically of Madman. It's a very distinct look. It makes you, just by looking at it, you're reading something different. This is the kind of book, and I think I've said this before about this book, but I'm going to say it again. This book makes me realize that it's probably smarter than I am. This book is smarter than I am, for sure. No, really, because like I'll be reading through this and I'm like, there is subtext here, and either I don't have the time right now to go through the subtext, or it's just I don't fully get it. Maybe I need to do a reread on it. But
sure, there's
definitely some subtext here. It reminds me of like to some degree of older X-Men comics in terms of the like drama. It's obviously like, homaging that, maybe doing a little parody of it, but also the idea that like, X-Men, like much like a lot of Marvel heroes, came out of maybe culture and society and like the world events. And there's definitely some of that in here. So again, if you're reading the X books and you pick this up, you're gonna be like, what the hell?
Why did I get this? I thought this was part of the whole thing. And it's like, this is a part.
This is something else. But like, if you think about like the heyday of the X-Men, books like this did come out.
Yeah.
Ecstatic was coming out.
Right.
So it's very in keeping with the like Renaissance, the 5th, 6th, 7th Renaissance.
Exactly.
of the X-Men. So if you want to dabble in it, we're only 3 issues in, but just expect something very different. So yeah.
Fair. Any others that you want to shotgun?
I read Wolverine.
Yes, you did.
I read Wolverine this week.
Yeah, and that was one of those things where I was like, you should read Wolverine. It's
Yeah,
Andy Kubert.
let's
Let's tell Marvel.
The only thing I didn't pick up was the one book. So
Yeah.
because I'm a sap.
No,
because it's just they're fun. They're fun. This is written by Ben Percy with art by Adam Kubert.
Right.
Not Andy.
No.
Adam Kubert. So it looks great. I like Ben Percy's voice for Deadpool, but he may not be for everybody because this Deadpool is very much like the Deadpool we've
the Joe
been
Kelly
getting.
one. Oh, okay.
Very much like the more recent runs of Deadpool and
like the Kelly Thompson one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a lot of sarcasm in here. There's a lot of like jokey kind of stuff, but I like it. I enjoy it, especially when you put it up against Wolverine.
Right, who's a good straight man.
You've got a perfect straight man there because Wolverine wants nothing to do with this. Deadpool only wants to get back onto Krakoa, and it's just about their adventures at the end of the day. It's all about family.
Okay, that's really what it's all about.
But Danger is in this. It's the
that's it. This is the one with Danger.
This is the one with Danger. Wolverine's like, yeah, but wasn't Danger not an enemy? What's going on here?
Yeah, sometimes.
Turns out that Deadpool's like occasional helper Weasel betrays him.
Oh, okay.
Along with Maverick. So Wolverine and Deadpool are in it together now, as much as Wolverine desperately did not want that.
Yes.
So it's fun. You know
what
I mean?
It's not like
and it's so funny because it is so tied to what's going on with Krakoa, and yet it really is just a Wolverine Deadpool adventure.
Right.
So
just part of the era.
It is just part of the era, but why is Wolverine doing this? Because of stuff that happened in previous Wolverine books that I had actually read because Andy Kubert was on it, or Adam, one of the Kuberts was on it earlier. So I read those. So I was like, oh my gosh, I know what they're talking about.
That's great.
But if you're like, I'm not really feeling too much the Krakoa, I think
this will probably be a good respite,
it could probably be okay if you were just like, but I miss Wolverine and I want to read something fun with Deadpool. And I think there's enough in here that will explain to you what's happening that you'd be like, okay, cool, I can just enjoy this book.
That's fair. Yay. All right. Gabe Simmons says, are you guys going to watch the Obi-Wan show? And if so, what are your thoughts? Yes, we're going to watch the Obi-Wan show. We don't really review Star Wars here anymore because people just can't handle their shit.
Everybody's just mad.
Everybody's just mad all the time.
Just mad all the time.
Yep. But, I think this is going to be like an apology letter to the prequels, which I'm not interested in reading. Kingsport Cal, hey guys, I play guitar and I've been trying to make up a ComicPop song. No promises, but if I get something good, I'll send it to you. I like Morbius.
You know what I love about this comment?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean this legitimately. This is not even a sarcastic send up here. Mm-hmm. I freaking love the bait in where we're just like, oh my gosh, guitar, a song that's so sweet. Oh,
and you liked Morbius.
But good for you. We didn't see it.
Yeah, no, and I never will. But I loved the memification of Morbius. I said this recently on Twitter where I was like, the problem is, everyone's really like, I'm seeing a lot of memeing of Morbius where people are like, get morbed is like Morbius's new unofficial catchphrase because people are like, the internet is reacting to Morbius the way that Sony expected them to, but earnestly instead of sarcastically.
Is this like Pink Flamingos?
Yeah, it's Pink Flamingos. Our friends used to be like very smart alecky hipsters, and they loved like just things that you think are stupid or lame. And so in this situation, they were like, we would love to get a couple of like Pink Flamingo like lawn things and put them on our lawn just to show like, oh my god. But then it's like, but then at the end of the day you do have Pink Flamingos on your lawn,
and they're like, wait, do I actually like these? Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like at that point I think that was when that was the wake-up call to like dial back the sarcasm.
So I also want to note too that right after the I like Morbius, there's a cat. So it was a compliment sandwich.
That's true.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was a 10 out of 10 comment.
10 out of 10. Ray Farr mentioned that
there it is.
And hey, Sal and Tiff, thank you so much for the content and hard work that goes into the channel. You're welcome, Ray. Thanks for taking it. I had a rough day today, so I'm glad you're here. Well, we're glad you're here, man. Thank you for absorbing our content. We're lucky to have you.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll help to
alleviate some of that
I was like,
rough day.
Disabsorb?
No. Young Goku over 9000. I feel like this was the first week I could get excited for X-Men again due to the delays. I mean, we were supposed to have Legion of X on 420, lol, and that comes out this week. Immortal X-Men is so good. The Batman is top tier too. Nice.
Yeah. The delays really, it's funny too because the delays honestly were both good and bad. The bad being now because it's a lot.
Right.
And so like it can feel overwhelming.
Mhm.
The good, it opened up the opportunity to try some other books.
Yeah.
When the others like weren't coming out.
That's true. He also mentions, do you ever run into the issue where you own a bunch of comics you want to read but never get to them? Maybe I just need to trim my pull list.
Yes.
Yes, that is a thing. And yes, you probably need to trim your pull list unless you do intend on reading them or getting the flu at some point, in which case you could just sit and read them all day.
Don't try to
really
get
do that.
Don't
I'm just
do
kidding. But like, honestly, yes, that is a problem. It is I would say it affects like 85% of comic book fans and readers, is that they're like their read pile gets too big. And
yes, and then it gets scary, and then like you end up putting yourself in a position where it's just getting worse and worse
and overwhelming to the point where you just quit.
You just quit, and it's like it's not because you didn't enjoy it, it's just because you felt like there was never like it was never going to go away.
Exactly.
And like it's the same thing with any task, really, which is like then it's even worse because now you're reading comics becomes a chore,
right? And that's not the point.
Enjoy. So if that is something that's occurring with you, like definitely trim the pull list back. You know, I know it's not necessarily great for the business like side of it for the comic book store, but maybe it is, because if you get the chance to actually get back into it and start, you know, going through the books you haven't had a chance to read, it might free your mind up enough to like feel, you know, empowered to go back in and get new books, and get more books.
Ray Farr, also, what's your favorite X team and who is your favorite POV tag along character from the X-Men, like Kitty Pryde, Rogue, Jubilee, Kitty all the way? I mean, honestly, like
from any time period.
Let's go with any. That way, it like narrows things down a little bit. Because I can't pick one from the Krakoa era. I don't know if I have a favorite.
I do. It's the Hellions. They were great. Or Excalibur.
Or Excalibur, yeah.
They were good too.
Yeah, I liked old Excalibur. I liked Nightcrawler as a fun gateway character.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. Like I grew up like they made Jubilee for me. Right? Like Jubilee was created for 90s kids, like to be like, here's your entry point. And I think she did a better job in the cartoon than she did in the comic books, but I liked her better in the comic books. She had more agency and she was a little less annoying. I will never forget like that one X-Men issue where Ileana gets put into the Shi'ar coma helmet. And it's just like, that's Jubilee is the best gateway character, is the best like protagonist for that issue. If every issue she was in was like that, she would have been more. She would never been a vampire.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, back to that whole pull list thing about me having too many comics. It's the same thing with video games.
All right. So many people. I mean, like, you know, you got Humble Bundles, you got Steam. You know,
those two.
I got a billion books. I got a billion video games. I'm never gonna play a single.
I mean, like, I have a bunch of them at home as well, and I look at the cases and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh right. Yeah.
And then I think about the whole Steam library thing. It's like, it's just for the best if I just stay away from the Steam sales.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
you know what we should do? Apropos of your video game thing, just this thinking about things we should be doing in our lives. Maybe you'll learn something from this as well. I was thinking what you should do is dedicate, like, because you have some vacation time or some days that you need to take off. You should take off like a 3-day chunk.
Yeah.
Just be like, and I'm gonna play video games during those 3 days.
Just nonstop.
Yeah, just like that's it.
Finish as many of them as I can.
Yeah, like call your friend over. She sits with you, and you guys just eat candy and chips and just play video games like you're like 14 in front of the TV. You know, we'll black out all the curtains and everything, and it'll be like that for comic books, where it's like I need to just take a day. Just take a day. Just put a sign on your door. It says "cut and loose" on it. Cat lawyer will defend from treats. Too many X-Men comics this week. It was excessive. Ha 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 ha. Good one. Elijah Jihad. Thoughts on Carl Urban as Wolverine? He's too old, but I would have been very happy with it about 10-15 years ago. Also, he was he was also Scourge in the
I don't care.
I know I would have loved him as Wolverine, but I fear for it. He also says R-rated movie at that. Yeah, I mean, like, that would make sense for Wolverine to be an R-rated movie, but like we've gotten away with a lot of not R-rated Wolverine content. We could get away with it. It'd be fine. Dominic Bell helping us out. Thank you very much, Dominic. And Algie Try. Comic Pop, hell yeah. Hell yeah to you too, Algie. What else you got?
Ow, I just hit my hand.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Oh, good. Yay!
Savage Avengers #1.
Savage Avengers #1, which I also read.
Yeah, I came out this day. I thought it'd be good to talk about.
I think you're right.
I also read this, so I thought, why not discuss it together? There's a credits page here, and when I get to it, I'm gonna tell you who made this.
Yes, it's written by David Pepose.
Pepose.
I always want to put an R in there.
There it is, David Pepose.
Thank you, Pepose.
With art by Carlos Magno.
Yes.
So you got credited.
It's a relaunch of Savage Avengers. This time,
Yes.
whole new team, whole new approach, whole new plan, and whole new disruption because of the Conan license going away.
Right, but like, hey, maybe they might be fixing this by the end here.
Right? Makes sense.
Right?
Because on the ending. But like, yeah, so
what'd you think?
It was fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a very like fun Marvel comic. And when I say Marvel, I mean like it's in the universe. It's taking a bunch of characters you never would see. As I understand it, Pepos wanted to like picked characters that he was like, this would be fun. Like, and this is a character you'd never see and you would never like putting Weapon H alongside Conan and Elektra Daredevil and the Black Knight and Agent Anti-Venom and stuff. Like, it's a
Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger. And as I understand it, he really wanted to like do something with Cloak and Dagger. Like, it's all there.
It feels, what's funny is like the spirit of this book is the spirit of what made the Avengers in the first place. Like, here's a bunch of characters who can't have a book.
Right. Here's a bunch of characters that can't hold their own book except for Daredevil.
I was gonna say, and Conan.
And Conan, but he's not allowed to have a book anymore.
He's not allowed to have a book, but he can hold his own book.
He can. So
like,
two people.
So typically it's that, but like, you're Black Knight had a book.
Yep.
But for like a second.
For a hot second. And he only got it because I think Sisbury wrote that.
Yeah.
So it was like he pushed it.
Probably. I can't remember honestly.
It was.
But yeah, like it has that spirit to it. It's written by David Pepos, who is a Ringo Award winner.
Yes, he is.
And I gotta tell you, I don't know if it was just because that was in my head, but like it definitely it was well written.
It's because you don't see a lot of Peppo's work.
Yeah, I guess
and
so.
So seeing him on a mainstream Marvel book like this is a great opportunity for him to shine. He's also giving an opportunity to stretch his legs and run with it because he's like, you're given a book, it's got Avengers in the title, you better swing big. And he does, and all of his talents are on display. Team building, character work, plot, like the story is interesting and engaging in as much as it's characters I would never normally read on their own, all put smashed together to deal with this one particular problem. The problem, of course, being yet again, it's another Conan thing. Savage Avengers seems to be the Cullen Gath is always like the issue.
Listen, he's a legit problem.
He is a legit problem, and sadly, they'll never be able to resolve it.
He's a big problem, and they gotta do something about him.
Yeah.
It's nice though because like Conan's had like some interaction with at least
some of them. Yeah.
Some of them know each other. Like I always like that dynamic when a team comes together where it's not just complete strangers.
No, exactly.
Some of them know each other, maybe like in a cursory way.
And they gel, yeah.
Yeah, or they're just like, oh, I know about them, or I'm proven wrong, or I'm proven right, whatever. But yeah, you got your bases covered, you got magic, you got,
magic, brute force, aliens, time, plus Deathlock. But it's not really Deathlock.
Plus, yeah.
It's like everybody always teases Deathlock, and it's never Deathlock. It's always Deathlocks. From like some time variance, thing.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah.
But and that's there too.
Yeah, and that's there too.
Also a problem,
right?
You've got multiple problems. You've got Conan's a man out of time. The idea here is that this team will end up being out of time.
Yes.
So
great idea.
Yeah, it is a great idea because like other than Elektra, who I think does have actually something going on.
She's got shit going on.
She got stuff going on.
But you know what? That's the Spider-Man of the group, right? Like where it's like a character that's a high-profile character that needs to be on the book to like sell the book.
Yeah, but like everyone else is like, yeah, it's fine.
Right.
We can be at it. We can be not around for a little bit, and it'll work out just fine for us.
And maybe these will be the books that like endear you to certain characters. Like I would never read a Weapon H book.
Right. Okay,
and yet there they are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. All right, Weapon H, what's your story?
Yeah, and like, listen, I enjoy Cloak and Dagger. I've not really read much of them.
And
for some reason, I enjoy them. I think it's the dynamic look and the fact that like with Cloak, you can draw. Like it's just a lot of cool stuff you can draw.
Some cool cape shit.
Yeah.
Plus,
cape shit.
I love Pepos going like, let's wrap up the Cloak and Dagger thing. Oh, too bad this book happened. Haha.
Yeah.
Also, I love the setup where you are so convinced, and I want to believe that Pepos wrote it. Yes, there's 2 scripts for this book.
Okay.
Where the antagonist is not Deathlock, but is the Predator.
Okay, I had literally the same thought. I'm so glad you said that.
Right?
And, like, it's funny, and I know
narration.
I kind of wish I had said it because everyone's automatically assumed that it's because it's you.
Right?
But, like you, of course you.
Because I love Predator.
Because you love Predator.
But you love Predator as well.
I do, and I read the first page. And I was like, the first page. The hunter hailed from a tower at the edge of eternity, but that was yesterday and also tomorrow. Today he stood on a precipice, peering across the hungry maw of a concrete jungle. He was a slayer from beyond, pursuing the deadliest of prey, a duty of which he would not falter. Yet if this sweltering city bothered him, it did not show across his cold, shimmering eyes.
And he's cloaked.
For deep within his heart of steel, the hunter knew time was on his side.
What?
I'm like,
it's like, nah, it's Deathlock. Like, damn it.
It's the Predator.
Yeah.
The
The idea of
you.
if you did a
I was
book,
right there, and I was
right?
like, Conan versus Predator.
Oh.
I want that.
And now we can never have it.
Now we can never have that.
It would have been the first. It should have been the first thing they did.
They could have, and like, it doesn't have to be here.
No.
It could be
during the Hyperborean age.
Send him back there, and he's like,
Yeah.
Crom.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, right. Maybe he's like jealous or mad. Maybe he sent like Crom sent him here to test me. Yeah.
And you have the Predator say something fun, repeat something fun back. It could be Crom. It could be something. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Savage Avengers to recommend. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seek says, just a little bonus from work, so you know Comic Pop gets a cut. Thank you, man.
Oh,
And
thank
congratulations to you. Also, thanks, Tiffany, for getting me into the world of indie comics. I recently picked up the trades of Good Asian and Department of Truth from
Excellent
Image.
choices. Excellent choices.
Yeah, you've read Department of
I
Truth.
think they're both up for awards.
I think they are. Yeah, Eisner's were big, and there are a lot of recommends from this channel and this show in particular that are all up for awards.
Yes.
I know that Supergirl and the Woman of Tomorrow, one of your favorite books of the year, up for an Eisner. Human Target, half of it at least, is also up for an Eisner.
I really hope they get it for Supergirl.
Because it's done. Let it be done.
It's limited. It's for a limited series. I don't know if they're going to get it. There's a lot of really strong contenders on there. But
Yeah.
like, I am really hopeful because that team just gelled perfectly.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's an amazing. It's one of Tom King's best works of all time.
Mhm.
It's up against Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah, I know.
From Daniel Warren Johnson, which
I
love. I love that book, but I also,
I felt so bad saying anything against it because I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But Supergirl.
Yeah.
Armed Armadillo says, have you all picked up Batman Beyond the White Knight yet? Sean Murphy's consistent and coherent storytelling is amazing in this universe. No, I've been recommending it, but I haven't picked it up yet. I need to pick it up. Because I saw that it's coming out, like the new one's coming out this week.
Yeah.
So I need to go get it.
Yeah, you got to get it. Get it. just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. I'm going to do the next one here.
Okay.
Dominic Bell forgot the message in the last chat. No. Oh, no. You didn't have to do that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Last chat. I'm stupid. You're not stupid.
No, you're not.
No.
That's me.
Don't catch these live often. Just read Aaron's Doctor Strange run. Any more recommendations? Love from the UK.
Cheers.
Cheers. If you read all of his run, I mean, dude, no. You can go back and if you haven't read The Oath, obviously read The Oath. You could, if you want something way out there that's not at all that tone, but like just you want to have that little like mark in your book that you read this,
right?
Go track down Into Shambhala.
By
J.M.D. Mateus. It's just one of those where it's like
Dan Green.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like, you've read that?
Yeah, it's Shambhala,
very
Doctor
nice.
Doom, Doctor Strange, Triumph and Torment.
Triumph and Torment for sure.
Mignola and,
oh my god, what I can? Why can I never remember this guy's name?
Which one?
The guy who created Rintra.
Oh, I don't know.
I can literally never remember his name. I feel so badly about that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, you keep going. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. What's his name?
Hang on. Oh, Peter Gillis.
Peter Gillis. Thank you. I think it's because we were just talking about Peter Milligan.
Yeah.
That my brain was like, it's not Peter. And I'm like, no, I think it is.
No, it is.
I think it is.
Right.
You can go back and maybe check out the Peter Gillis run. It's not quite the, like, it's not at all the Ditko era, right? But it's going to feel a little more modern because you're going to be heading into the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's a little more ridiculous, but there's still that air of like seriousness and a little bit of that biting humor to it. And there's going to be a lot of characters you recognize in that run, but also some new faces.
It's true.
Including some that, maybe have been hinted in other works as well. Like Topaz never really came back, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's a shame. I read Shadow War Zone #1. It is like part in a part series about Shadow War from Joshua Williamson. This is because they don't number them. This is like there's Shadow War Omega, Shadow War Alpha, Shadow War Zone, Shadow War Path, Shadow War.
Wait, it's Shadow War.
Shadow War.
It's not Shadow War Zone.
No, the event is called Shadow War. This is Shadow War Zone #1. Fuck you.
Species 2: Species 2.
Species 2. It's from a number of creators, including Joshua Williamson, with art by Trevor Hairsine and Mike Bowden and Ann Molina and Otto Schmidt and Sweeney Boo. And
those are wait. Is there that many?
Oh, those are
colorists.
colorists. Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
This is this is fine. It introduces Angel, whatever the hell her name is, Angel Maker, Angel Taker, Ghost Maker, Angel Taker.
Angel Baker?
Angel Taker. New character, who cares? At this point, it's like, yep. And Black Canary is under fire by because of her association with Deathstroke. She was recruited by Angel Taker to join up to fight the Al Ghul, no, to kill Deathstroke, and she refuses, and that's it. It's just Black Canary is going to be in Shadow War, I guess. I don't know, whatever. Skippable. It's a tie-in, but like it tricked you because it was called something, because it wasn't called Shadow War, War Zone or Shadow War,
The War Zone thing. I don't know. That one kind of like
deliberately deceptive.
Yeah, I thought that was like, it almost seemed like it was a standalone.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just, but it is definitely a chapter in the ongoing saga of Shadow War, which is going to lead directly into the Dark Crisis, which, I'm sure I'll enjoy more than the Shadow War. I haven't liked a Batman event ever.
Ever?
Probably. Maybe No Man's Land. Dawson Miller, if you could replace the X in every X-Men title, what letter would you choose? I guess K.
Z.
There you go. Brady White, how are you doing? Doing good, man. How are you? How are you, Tiffany? How are you?
I'm good.
I went to MegaCon this past weekend. First con in about 9 years. I met King, Williamson, Tynan, and many others. All gave great tips for writing, along with saying I look like Matthew Rosenberg. It's very nice. Nice. And I'm glad. Yeah, definitely pick their brain. If you go to con, meet your favorite writer, ask them questions that you want to know the answers to, but more importantly, that would help you and that you think that they would be experts in.
And also use the last thing to try to get into more events.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, boy, Chips Ahoy. Have you have any recs on Goofy Golden Age Superman? No, I'm not a big. No, I'm not like Alan Moore. I'm gonna give like a smart alecky issue from 1952. That's my favorite, like dumbass story. I appreciate that they exist. They blaze the trail, but I'm not an avid reader of Golden Age books about like magic and Mixel Spitlicks and whatnot. David Pledger, love y'all. 337. Leet. Thanks.
Oh,
you too.
You missed one.
What?
You missed one.
Oh, was it Armed Armadillo?
Yeah.
Who said Comic Pop always gets paid? Thank you very much, man. The Comic Pop always gets paid. It's over. Max M. I'm on an Elseworlds Exchange binge and just watched the one on movie franchises comics can save. A great video that I think is due for a sequel, maybe video games instead. Fallout and God of War are my picks. Good picks and great idea.
I would literally pay lots of money for a God of War movie, especially if they got Teal'c. I can't remember what his real name is. Christopher Judge. There it is.
There you go. Yay.
I've got no name for brains. I've got no brains for names today.
Well, what about God of War, the comic book? Like, would you want that?
No.
Kingsport Cal, Morbius, lol, you got to do Last Night on Earth for back issues. You guys are rad. Sporting my Comic Pop shirt tonight when I go out. Got to rep my crew. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna one of these days. Like every once in a while, I'll pull out Last Night on Earth and I'll go today. And then I was gonna do it a couple weeks ago and I read it and I was like, whoa, no, I can't just shotgun this. I gotta like actually like go over it again. And Ray Farr says, me and Sal talk about Shadow War. Yeah, just read Simpsons comics. Me after Sal talks about Shadow War. Yeah, I just read Simpsons comics. My feeling on comics are about in line with Alan Moore, but at least it's fun. BS. Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't read Thor. I should have read Thor 25. Derp. Anyway,
hey, you said you wanted to.
I know. I forgot. X-Force, Stormbreakers. Now this is X-Force number 28.
Yeah, I got the Peach Momoko variant cover.
Yay!
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, this is the other cover. This is the cover.
That's the actual cover. This is like.
Did he have a new name? Is it Omega Knot or something?
It's not his name. He's trying out husks of different power sets because he doesn't quite feel like himself. He's trying to discover who he is as a person. It actually is fairly relatable.
Oh, cool.
In its own way. In its own, like, we're not Omega or Kid Omega at all.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something there.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's seemingly such a not relatable character, but all he wants to do is figure out who he is, and Phoebe's left him, so that's all he's doing now. So he basically puts on this.
Does he get the Crystal of Cyttorak?
No, these are all just husks that
Oh.
are created for him. By
Oh, right.
because like they're X-Force, so they get to like pull like
They get to jump the line.
Yeah, and so like he's having these bodies created and then putting himself into them, and then he goes into like the arena and fights Silver Samurai, and Silver Samurai is like, dude, you're really like wasting my time here. Because don't forget, Silver Samurai is now in charge of the arena for like if you're getting
for the Crucibles.
For the Crucibles. After Apocalypse left, he took up the mantle.
Yeah.
Which means we don't really talk about that anymore because let's not talk about Silver Samurai, I guess.
No, yes. People are just like, no.
Hey, Silver Samurai, I know you literally have swords, but you're not going to the
to be in Ten of Swords.
You're not coming to the Ten of Swords.
So weird.
Sorry. Not you. You stay here.
This is written by Benjamin Percy with art by Robert Gill, by the way.
It is. And it's not my favorite art, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my style.
Right.
So like, there's nothing wrong with this art.
Fair.
And if you like it, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just not my favorite.
Like, right.
Not because it's like flawed.
Totally.
It's a totally stylistic choice. This is, if you were like, oh man, X-Force is back and I'm excited. Boy, I hope you read 10 Lives of Wolverine.
Oh God.
Because that's what they're dealing with. In the wake of 10 Lives of Wolverine, one of the Cerebros gains sentience and is just gonna Skynet this bitch all over the place.
That's so stupid.
It's like Skynet and Brainiac. It wants to consume knowledge, and so like it's like eating X-Men heads, like mutant heads, to gain their knowledge and powers. So it, like killed Forge. And
cool.
It doesn't matter because they all come back. But it is still doing it. And it is becoming more dangerous with each mutant.
It's becoming a nuisance. Yeah.
Well, it's becoming a real problem. And then Kid Omega's like, what if it gets me?
Right.
That's not good.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, if you didn't want your Wolverine fix from Wolverine or Wolverine patch, Wolverine is going to be in this issue trying to help track down this rogue Cerebro, whilst Sage tries to talk Omega Red into assisting them. Omega Red is back, but like, you know, he's just mad about everything.
Sure.
He's just mad about everything.
He was in 10 Deaths of Wolverine and he had to deal with that.
And Lives.
And Lives. He was in 10 Lives.
He was in Lives. But you're going to get like the, you know, Kid Omega Phoebe like drama as well here, which I kind of have come to enjoy quite a bit. Wolverine and Domino track the Cerebro to the cradle where like everybody's dead. And it's like kind of made a nest there. And Wolverine's like, well, if it eats any of us, it's also not going to be good because, you know, adamantium. It has like some sort of metal powers as well. It hasn't eaten Magneto because he's gone.
Right.
So it's like using that against Wolverine. Domino gets a pretty good hit in and then it takes off and it might attack Black Tom, basically.
Oh no.
So, like, that's going to be a tremendous problem for them. I think it also changes its name. It calls itself Cerebrax.
Okay.
Because it's like they say that they're X-Force and he's like Cerebro, X-Force, like, and so it just keeps repeating them until it becomes a word. Until it becomes Cerebrax.
Cool.
So now when we talk about it, we can just say Cerebrax is on the run.
Yeah.
It's on the loose. Listen, it's like they should have just created a community that had no technology.
Right?
Because like that seems to be their greatest undue.
Their whole thing, their biggest villain is technology, and then they were like, okay, and also this.
Yeah. So, you know, it's it's so funny because it's like, I'm like, okay, cool. I just kind of want to see how they wrap this up. It's very much just an adventure for them, but it is off of something that you may or may not have read.
That's true.
But the thing that definitely tracks between it is obviously the cast.
Yeah.
The team, I believe, at least with Ben Percy, and the Kid Omega stuff.
Right.
Which I was just like, oh, right. I kind of liked that relationship, and I was kind of sad when they broke up.
Yeah.
Which for me, it has that like that tint of 90s X-Men as well.
Totally.
Relationships, that level of drama as well, along with like, you know, possibly cataclysmic events occurring. But like, all I want to do is date this chick. She completed me. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Of course.
But like I said, like there was something kind of sweet and endearing about Kid Omega trying on different suits and power sets, trying to find who he is because he's just not satisfied. Although he seemed to be in a better place. But I think after Phoebe and he broke up, that like he's kind of taken some steps back.
Right. You have a few more, so
yeah, I do. Let's talk about X-Men Red.
Okay, X-Men Red.
Let's talk about X-Men Red. We'll just do Gillen's back to back.
Yeah.
Then after that, X-Men Red came out this week, and I know for a lot of people they really love this book. And I'm not saying I didn't love this book. I just didn't love this book as much as some of the other books this week. This is Al Ewing with art by Stefano Caselli.
Yes.
And it's no more Sword. So you're going to see a lot of like Ewing's stuff from Sword in this book.
Right.
But not everybody, just some cast of characters. And if you didn't know by now, Abigail Brand's not a good person. But like, listen, that kind of comes with the territory with her. Although originally it was kind of pitched as like a Abigail Brand knows better, because like she's thinking of not just Krakoa, but she's thinking of like the planet as a whole and like our solar system as a whole as well, in terms of the grand universal plan.
Yeah.
So she's like, Krakoa is not good for that. Like it's only going to cause problems, and like we need to think on a larger scale. And so like she betrays them in a way.
Yeah.
But like seemingly thinking about it from a like place of what she thinks is better perspective, right?
Maybe she should be told about the end of the world and all the robots and stuff.
Sure. However, this Abigail Brand seemed a little more like mustache twirling a little bit. So I'm not really sure what happened, because it is Ewing writing it.
Yeah.
Or if it was just they didn't have enough time to really get into it and develop this.
Probably that.
A little bit more, because like Abigail Brand develops the X-Men Red Team. And the X-Men Red Team, honestly, it's it's got like Vulcans on it, and like some of her folk are on it. Eden leaves, by the way. He starts questioning things, because he knows that like she killed Peter Gyrick,
right?
But she won't admit it. And he's like, I'm pretty sure you pushed him out of the airlock,
right?
What's up with that?
Yeah,
like, why'd you do that? And like she's like, honestly, like, would anyone be upset if I had?
Right.
Like, think about that.
He's like, me.
I might.
Yeah,
because you killed a person,
right? And lied about it.
Yeah. So you Frenzy's there, and Random, and Manifold, and Mentalo.
Okay.
Mentalo.
Yeah.
However you want to say that. And Cable's the leader, of course. Now she's trying to keep Cable in the dark as much as possible, and like so that's been kind of hard. Her plan here this time around was like they were throwing things at Arakko, because she's trying to unseat Arakko.
Yeah.
Because like they shouldn't be here.
Right.
So she's like having like stuff thrown at it. But like underestimates the people there.
Oh, sure.
So like she sends her team there, but they're kind of like useless.
Yeah.
But like little does she know that like Storm really kind of fell into her role on Arakko, and she like forms the Brotherhood of Arakko.
Yes.
And so she shows up and defends the people there. So it's neat. Magneto's on it, and Sunspot, and the Fisher King, Kingfisher. Yeah.
The Kingfisher, yeah.
Yeah, but he's also known as the Unarmed King by the people, which they're like, there's something more there, and I literally can't wait. I really like that character quite a bit. I've actually like completely stopped caring about the Abigail Brand stuff, because it's so strangely written from the last stuff that he was writing, and I just only want to know about the Arakko side of it now. Yeah. I'm just like, Ewing, just tell that story. I'm really interested in this story.
Yeah.
Because it's Storm trying to fit in here. They push back the progenitors. That's who are thrown at the planet. Storm and the others take care of it, and it all works out, and it's hooray. When Storm shows up, like there's like this small village of like artists and creators who were from Arakko, so they're just trying to like make their own way there.
Yeah.
And when she shows up, they're like, oh, it's Aurora. Like she's really kind of gotten in with them.
Okay.
In a debrief to herself later on, I really like this like note from Abigail Brand, because like she's going through what happened. She's like, all right, I underestimated a lot of people.
Yeah.
She's like, and eventually she goes like, I thought I was getting the Queen of Wakanda. Instead, I got the Queen of the Morlocks.
Oh.
And I'm like,
yay.
So like, that's the Storm that shows up, and she looks baller. She got a new costume. I really like it. It looks great. She puts Vulcan in his place. Vulcan, we found out why Vulcan's on Mars, because like he's having a hard time, and basically either killed or threatened or hurt Xavier and the Summers house. So the Summers don't want him back right now.
Okay.
So Abigail has decided that the only way she's going to get through this is by getting her own person in the inner circle in Arakko's council. And the only way to do that would be to kill one of their members. And there's really only one member on that council that would be taken down, and everyone would be like, that's fine.
Okay.
And it's Tarn. And if you don't know who Tarn is, then Tarn came around in Hellions. Tarn the Uncaring, he's like the Mr. Sinister equivalent there, but he's smarter than Sinister.
Gotcha.
He's not as conniving.
No, but he's more intelligent.
He's a more accomplished scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're gonna go after Tarn, which I was like, that's fair. Tarn's a dick anyway, so whatever.
Sweet.
But yeah, I gotta tell you, like, I'm really much more interested in Magneto and the unnamed king.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm here for that
cool.
for sure. like I said, there's nothing wrong with this
No.
book. It's just the brand stuff.
It isn't Sword.
I'm having a hard time, and it just feels like there was a bit of a jump in between the last time with her characterization to here. It's just not a smooth transition.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm missing. I think eventually we're going to get there
for
sure. But like the way he wrote her originally in Sword was very like, no, I'm doing this for the great. It's for the greater good.
Like,
and it doesn't feel like that right now. And it could just be he's like, I'm not going to explain it to you. You already know. You already know.
Right. You know what she's all about.
Yeah, get over it. And I'm like, you know what? That's probably fair. That's probably
interesting.
Fair. Oh, also, Bran wanted to find out about Cable's legacy virus.
Oh.
And the arm. And so like the progenitors eat it so they can gain its knowledge and they can share it. So that's going to be a problem eventually.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem. Everything's always a problem.
Yeah.
There's like part of the issue with the X-Men right now, and like we all knew this was coming, and like it's something that I both love and loathe at the same time, is that like there are so many little threads right now. It's like I feel like there's no way we're going to make a blanket out of it.
Right. That's fair. I mean, especially since we know now that like X-Men can be stopped. Like you can cancel a book.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yeah.
They're not all going to have an ending. And even if they do, those endings are not necessarily going to close a thread.
Yes. Did I call him the Unarmed King? I hope I did.
I don't remember. Yeah, you called him that.
I might have named
earlier.
I might have said he was the unnamed, but I meant unarmed.
Yeah, I think you said unarmed at some point.
Cool. I don't know, but that is who he is because he's the one who has no powers.
Gotcha.
Seemingly.
You're right. Seemingly.
I think there's something more to him, and that's again, I can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
And hopefully that reveal is going to be good.
Well, it's Ewing, so it should.
I hope so.
Terlaga says, love that you guys have started doing Good, Bad, and Ugly again. My second favorite show on the channel, back issues, is first. Any chance we could see any comics from the Tangent universe on there, or possibly books from Marvel's Adventures line? There's always a possibility of that. I don't have many more. I have like one Tangent book, so, probably not Tangents right away, but at some point.
But we'll keep an eye out for
Yeah,
them.
definitely.
Like
I'm glad you dig the show.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Ryan McD, my favorite YouTube peeps. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. Welcome to the show. Recently read all of Straczynski's Spider-Man and I loved it. I'm wondering if you have any other runs or arcs that you recommend that scratch that itch. Keep on keeping it real, babes. Thanks, Ryan. And I'm glad you dig it, man. Yeah, I loved the JMS run. It was super important to me. I mean, honestly, if it's like long-standing runs that treat the character with respect, you should read Ultimate Spider-Man. Kurt Busiek is a good Spider-Man writer when it came to the Untold Tales. Again, that's more in continuity, but like it's a flashback book about like when he was young. I mean, like Big Time wasn't bad. I think that Big Time is a decent sequel to the Straczynski run. So that's not bad. Otherwise, I mean, I'd go back to like something like DeMatteis's runs, or DeMatteis's run on Spectacular was pretty great. That would scratch an itch for you. It's a little more like melodramatic and goofy, but but there is some like some similar tones, and it's it's dealing with like weighty topics about the human condition. LF says, hey, from Australia. Tiff, what did you think of the Eternals 12? Keep making awesome content. We'll try, man. Thank you. As for what Tiffany thought of Eternals 12, well,
let's just jump into it. Eternals 12 came out this week. It's the end of Gillen's Eternals run for now.
It's the end.
It's the end.
And unlike the last one where it was like, it's the end, and then here's another one.
Yeah, I think we'll see. This is Judgment Day is coming because Judgment Day is the next thing that he's going to be doing.
Right, the event,
which is like it's going to be Eternals versus X-Men, but the Avengers are also involved, and that way they can spell the word X.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. This wrapped up everything that was been going on, and until I read any of the Judgment Day stuff, I don't know if this is required reading or not to get enough out of it.
Probably
or
not.
If it's just those of us who read it are going to be like slightly more in the know.
Yeah.
But it's up to you. If you just like reading really well written prose, then this is definitely a book you should have been reading this whole time, because like you get to watch Thanos be the Prime Eternal, and like the Eternals that you know of being like, well, I'm not going to follow him. How do we get rid of him? Kind of thing. How do we get rid of them? Well, we need to go talk to this like the ghost of the Celestial that the Avengers live in. So we can't just tell them why though, because they don't know that Thanos is Prime Eternal.
Right.
Because we don't want to tell them that.
Why? Just tell them that.
Because like it's none of their business.
You know what? It becomes their business.
But don't forget, these guys have lived for
a gazillion years.
A gazillion years.
Yeah, and it was really uneventful until about like 20 years ago when everybody showed up.
Well, they would say otherwise.
Uh-huh.
But so for them, they're like, no, like they don't need to know because what are they gonna do?
Mhm.
Like we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Like, we're the ones who have to take care of it, and that's our celestial anyway.
Mhm.
That's our god.
Well, he said it was okay for us to live in their head.
But so they end up finding out some key information that is revealed in this book, and then Thanos is able to break his father's like mind and find how it is like how he was created. They
Mm.
use that to try to fix him. It turns out like he's not what he used to be, and that like even without knowing it, Thanos changed himself. And Thanos is like, ha ha ha, of course I did. I'm like, God,
damn it,
you dick.
Yeah.
He's like, even without knowing it, I made myself better than you. I'm like, that's very you.
Yep.
That is very you, Thanos. And so then he's gonna destroy the world machine.
Oh.
Which is gonna end the world.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, while the Eternals are trying to commune with the really it's Ajax. Ajax is attempting to commune with the Celestial. The other Eternals are attempting to ward off the Avengers. Initially, they didn't want to fight them.
A couple of these people were Avengers. Like, just call them.
You mean like Cersei?
Yeah.
Well, Cersei's in a hot tub with Namor.
Oh, okay.
So she spent the past few issues just in a hot tub with him.
Oh, okay, great.
She's like,
well, you're not helping.
No. However, the others are like they're in like fights essentially when they find out that Thanos is going to destroy the world. Basically, Cersei's like, we have to go stop them, but the Avengers aren't going to make that easy for us to leave your current fights, so we need to get out of this. She's like, just connect me with them. Like, give up.
Right.
Stop fighting for a moment, and then let me telepathically communicate with them. They do. She explains everything, and like they're like, just go. Like, they're not happy.
Right, but
you have to do this.
Yeah.
So like, and it's funny because Cap's there, and he has like a total Captain America moment where he's just like, Avengers stand down, like, Godspeed, son. He's like, he can't help himself.
Aww.
They fight. Thanos is, taken down by Druig.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to prove to be part of a problem and part of why what comes next is going to come next.
Yep.
So inevitably Cersei has to go back and explain to the Avengers like what happened, and so she does, but like she's really like flippant about it too, because she's just like,
why should I even have to talk?
She's embarrassed by it and she's ashamed by it. But
okay, cool.
She's also kind of like, if the others were here, like this is what they would say to you.
Right.
But, like you're insignificant. Like you're over here, you have like decades left to live, and you're like trying to tell me what I should be doing.
Right. I'll be here long after.
Yeah. So it's just a very interesting conversation. It's really well written.
Yeah.
Icarus goes back to that boy's family. You remember that boy from like many issues ago?
Yeah.
Who it turns out that like when the Eternals come back, someone on Earth dies.
Yes.
Yeah. So like that boy's mom, and she's like, it's a really uncomfortable conversation, but she's like, I saw that you like you saved a town, like you saved an entire town, but you couldn't save Toby.
Right.
And he's like,
yep.
Cool, thanks. But the key here is that like, well, Druig becomes Prime Eternal because Thanos is gone. So there's no, and he's like not gone forever, but he's gone for now. And Druig's like, that's going to bite me in the ass one day.
Yep.
Some other time. Becomes Prime Eternal. And we learned that there's like, that the Deviants were really the key for the Celestials, that like the Deviants were the ones who like were supposed to be like changing and evolving, but like when they become like out of control, that's when they have to be put down. But like really that the Eternals were there just to take care of them.
Yes.
So like they don't feel important anymore or good about themselves. And so like Druig wants to do like a search using the World Machine to like find very specific deviants that like those who have deviant derived DNA and like with certain intelligence and sentience. And he's like, okay, well that's Lemuria there. He's
and
like,
then this little island.
He's like, what the hell is this? And it's Krakoa. So what did we just establish? That mutants are derived from deviant DNA.
That's fine. I got no complaint about that.
Well, it depends, because like we've been like humans have been warring against them because they're like,
because they're like different.
Yeah, and they're humans but not. And I'm like, are they?
Right. Yes.
So we'll see. But like that's what he did. And like honestly, doesn't bother me because it's really well done.
Right, exactly. When it's well executed, it doesn't necessarily matter.
And we'll see where it goes from here because, it's Druig's interpretation of it, and the World Machine has been known to be flawed before. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but like presumably that's what's going to trigger all of this. I found this to be a very satisfying and enjoyable ending. If you like Thanos being a dick and like, well written, then you might enjoy this because Gillen gets him in like a way that's like very frustrating. He's a very frustrating villain in this because he doesn't think he is.
Right.
So, and I always like that as a villain. So I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed this series. If we get more, great. If we don't, I still got 12 issues. I still have
an event written by him.
Yeah, but I was gonna say I still got 12 issues of Eternals, which I haven't really been interested in Eternals since Gaiman, and I gotta say, like they have different feels, but that same quality level. So it's nice. It's just nice. So hooray! Thanks, Kieran Gillen.
Ray Farr, how many of the X-Men's own devices will try to kill them? First Danger, now this. Next issue will have Wolverine face off against the X-Microwave.
All of them will try to kill them.
They have to eventually. Lee Allen, do either of you ever feel like there are two Garth Ennis's, one who tells sobering stories, and the other who transcribes bathroom graffiti? Love y'all. Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes he's doing it for a reason, and other times he's doing it for a paycheck, and it's very obvious which is which. Kingsport Cal, Tiff, favorite X-Men writer? That shirt is cool.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, there was a question there. I was just like, yay, my shirt.
Yeah.
If you can't see my shirt, it's the Jim Lee
X-Men
cover.
Yep.
But it's uncolored. And I really dig that quite a bit. I'm
very
proud of the shirt. Favorite X-Men writer, like right now or all time?
I don't know. Probably all time. It's got to be Hickman, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does.
Dr. Bright, hello, Spidey and Dr. Strange. How are you? We're good, man. Thank you. Erwin Rosales, finally able to catch it live. Excited for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Well-deserved Eisner nomination. I hope we get a deluxe hardcover soon.
Me too.
Yeah, we all do, man. Come on. Let's get it. Let's get it. So I read World's Finest number 3.
Yeah, do you want it?
Sure. It's written by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora. It is the best looking DC book on the shelf, obviously. As you can see. Yep. And it's just a, the problem is it's set in the past and it's like, you're right. It's set in the past and it's just an adventure about Superman and Batman teaming up with their respective like sidekicks. Supergirl and Robin are sent into the past to deal with their new antagonist created by Wade to like figure out how they're operating in the present day. The Doom Patrol are also sub-character, like they have like the B plot in this story, and they're trying to find out more information. Everyone's just trying to get info about the new like D's and whatever the hell his name is. I don't remember. It's like, but like he's no, it's fine. He has no character. He's not interesting. The villain is just a big bad guy who's trying to mess everybody up, and he's a jerk. It wraps up in a fun way where he's like controlling different heroes, and then like the reveal or the villains, and then turned heroes, and then he takes over Alfred, which is cool. It's like, hey, Alfred's back. Like, way to remember. But yeah, Wade is doing a great job with these characters. Obviously, Wade really gets Superman, but he also really does a nice job with Batman. And this Batman's much more like personable. It's like a Batman universe type Batman, a little less funny, but a lot less like miserable. Plus, you get the fun blue bat suit and Dan Mora's interpretive bat symbol from '89 Batman. Well, these are all cosmetic. The reality is just a really fun series, and it's a really, really good book, and it looks amazing, and it's totally worth the price of admission. And if you're unhappy with any of the runs for Superman or Batman, you should be reading this. This should be your alternate book.
Right.
If you're like, I don't like Batman right now, it's too much crap, and I don't like Superman because it's not Clark. It's like, dude, read World's Finest. You're gonna be glad you did, because it's got a writer who loves these characters and gets them and hasn't done it in a while, so he's hungry, and the best artist they have.
Yeah.
Like, DC doesn't deserve Dan Mora, and they have him, and he's doing great.
Right.
Because they don't know what to do with him,
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I was just wondering too, sorry, I'm thinking, I'm going back to Eternals real quick.
Yeah.
Because, it's like, oh, the reveal is this, right? And like, back when Gaiman wrote it, like, the Celestials showed up and they made the Eternals and they made the Deviants, right? And it's like, theoretically, sure, everything's like related.
Yeah.
But like I think personally, once you throw a Celestial's like power and ability in there, it kind of makes it a little weird, right?
Sure.
So it's just breeding essentially that could have like made the mutants what they are, like deviant interbreeding with humanity.
Oh yeah.
But I was thinking that like in which book is it?
Was it Aaron's?
No. Which the current X-Men book that's coming out? Marauders. They were dealing with space and like the Shi'ar, and like there's like a big secret about the first mutants.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like, are these
connected?
gonna
Probably.
connect?
They should.
I hope so.
That'd be cool.
I'm excited.
If
they do. Sorry. Anyway, go
No,
ahead.
it's okay. Hudson Curry, have you all read Twig Boy? That was the first issue. No, I've not read Twig Boy. I have no idea what you mean.
I do. I think it's
yeah?
a Scotty Young book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like Scotty Young's art, but I'm not really a big fan of his writing. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Tiffany, you got one more book, I think, at least.
Do, and it was my favorite book.
It's the big
of the
one.
week. Wait, I've got two. Because I forgot about New Mutants.
Oh yeah, New Mutants.
New Mutants came out. And this right now, okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this book, guys.
Yeah, it's written by Vita Ayala with art by Rod Rice.
Yeah, first of all, art.
Yep, Rod Rice on New Mutants.
Rod Rice, man. Rod Rice just shows you stuff that you're like, wow, I didn't even know I wanted to see that. Look at these colors. Look at these, like, just depictions of imagery and just beautiful pages of just artwork. And the story is also very good. Let's not pretend like it's not.
Sure. I'll try not to.
This book was a little more expensive, but it is a little heftier. You can tell. You can feel it, right? So this book says like, hey, I know we just did an event called Inferno that really had nothing to do
with the original
Inferno. Let's make you think about the original Inferno. And you're like, what?
Like, didn't you just do Inferno? Now you're doing another Inferno?
We're not doing
look at that cover.
We're
that
not
is
doing,
totally...
Well, this is a variant. This variant, I was like, look at this variant. look at her.
Look at this variant.
I mean, I wasn't gonna get this variant. I like the original cover, but like anyway, yeah, it's just so interesting to me that they're like, let's specifically reference the original Inferno with this book when like they were like, hey, let's bring out Inferno.
It's the biggest thing Madeline Pryor was in.
Inferno. Madeline Pryor's back. Cool. She will not be a part of that event.
Of the new Inferno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now instead, Magic feels like she's got too much going on. Magic's got too much going on. She's a war captain. She's like, teaching classes and dealing with the other younger New Mutants. There's a lot doing.
Yeah.
Right. So she wants to get rid of one of her responsibilities. She does not want to be in charge of Limbo anymore.
Okay.
So she's like, who better to be in charge of Limbo than someone who was already tied to and ruled Limbo? I'm going to get Madeline Pryor.
Right.
And everyone's like,
what?
Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what she did last time? And she's like, yeah, no, it's cool. Don't worry. Don't you trust me? Like, you trust me enough to like be a captain of Krakoa.
Right.
Like, don't you trust me here? And Madeline's like,
right, but like you're just shirking responsibility. That's not.
Yeah, but like basically because it's like hell, but not hell.
Right. They're
gonna make a deal, and the deal's pretty ironclad. So like Magic's writing all sorts of stuff in there. We don't know what the deal is.
Right.
We don't know what the deal is, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a mysterious shadowy figure. Just like there's always, if you're dealing with Limbo, there's going to be a mysterious shadowy figure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a mysterious shadowy figure who wants to take over Limbo, right? So while they're penning the deal in Limbo and Magic's there along with Madeline Pryor and Danny Moonstar and Wolfsbane.
Yeah,
they're there as well. They're going to be her ride-along characters this time.
Good. They're New Mutants. Might as well.
Yes. And they have been in the New Mutants book. We've really been focusing on the other younger New Mutants that they just created, but now we're kind of going back to, what a lot of people think of are the New Mutants to some degree, right? So they're interrupted.
Oh.
And in being interrupted, like Magic has a moment where like she's fighting and she like loses her confidence somewhat, and also is fighting a dude who had like a magical mace pulled out of it's a demon.
Yeah.
This mace pulled out of his chest. It's magical. And she uses the soul sword and she fights with him, and the soul sword breaks.
Right.
Thus making her no longer in charge of Limbo.
Right. So now
she's freaking out.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you have to open a thing. We got to get out of here. So she does that. And so all four of them jump in, and she's like, I'm not in charge of Limbo anymore. I don't know what to do. But don't worry, they're still trapped in Limbo. So
what are they going to do now?
Yeah. So like, I'm looking forward to this, but I was like, this is so strange to specifically make us think of the original Inferno. So much so as to like in one of the editor's notes, remind us They're like, hey, I can't believe I shouldn't have to tell you about like what happened in like 1989's crossover event Inferno, right?
It's like,
I'm like,
what are you doing?
what's happening? What's happening right now? But I still enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the book. You know, there's reference at the end, story's going to be involved. Like throughout this, she's telling a story about a little goblin. And I was like, is Madeline the little goblin? She's the goblin queen. But I was like, no. Magic is the little goblin in this. And there's like, you know, like a wolf lady who's there and like a dream walker. And like so like it's this fantasy story. But then we see Magic like back before the Inferno events as like a little girl like taken by Belasco.
Okay, cool.
To Limbo. You know, being tormented by like a, you know, demonic version of Kitty Pryde and Storm.
Yeah.
In like the library, they're reading this story, and the little goblin shows up and starts writing more of it. So I'm like, how is this all coming together? I don't know. I'm honestly really interested in it though, but I just think it's so strange and so interesting to be like, we got
like, well, they said Inferno. I'm gonna do an Inferno.
Let's do Inferno. We got the characters.
You know, because we called it Inferno because she's gonna burn it to the ground. So let's just do that. I'm Hickman.
We got Maddie Pryor. Let's
right now. Let's do it again.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Crap. What are we gonna call this one now?
I also love that you know, Havoc was like so about her being in this, and we have not really seen them together at all.
No, weird.
And like clearly she's like, I'm good.
I have Chasm now.
I'm good. I don't and like I think he got his head eaten off by Cerebrax anyway. So
right.
He's in the queue.
Yeah.
So it was not that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah. Good book. Good book, but like
right.
What's happening?
Joey Sclad. I'm not reading anything currently and have just become disillusioned with DC and Marvel. World's Finest sounds good. Thanks for the recommendation. Check it out, man. I think you're gonna like it. The art's great. So yeah, next up, Immortal X-Men.
This was my favorite book of the week. It's just so good. It's just so good for dealing with Selene the vampire. Let's be honest. What is this about? This is about poor decision making. But it's not. It's really not. It's written by Kieran Gillen with art by Lucas Wernick. Lucas Wernick doing a great job, bringing his A game.
Yay.
Looks amazing. If you were on Twitter, I would have told him that.
But he's not.
He's not. But like seriously, such a good looking book. This book is dealing with the like, hey, Magneto's leaving. Now, in this book, he hasn't quite left yet, but like the announcement's been made and the seat needs to be filled, right? They need to get someone else in there. And they had like tryouts. Both characters from X-Corp showed up and tried to get on the council. I was like,
fuck off.
Monet, Angel.
You failed.
Sorry. Not today.
Nobody wants you.
But of them, Selene also shows up. You know, external vampire.
Older than Apocalypse.
Yep. Oh, sexy, you know.
Gazillionaire.
Oh, yeah, gazillionaire.
Gazillion-year-old. Yeah. I don't know.
I was going to say, you know, sexy, everyone like from Underworld wishes they were her.
Ah, yes.
You know, Selene. And she makes a good vie for it because she's like, listen.
I'm really old.
No, her thing is that she's like, Apocalypse was your connection to the magical side of mutants, and now you don't have that anymore, so you're totally open to that. So I think you should. I was like, that's a fair argument. However,
you suck.
However, I think Exodus mentions, I think it's Exodus who pushes Hope to go for it. Hope Summers, who's one of the 5, but she's like, I'm going to go for it. So she does, and she's like, I feel like one of the 5 should have a voice on this council.
They're like, oh, that's more convincing.
And that is very much what happens. They take a vote. They take a fair vote. And Selene is voted out. And Hope is in. And Selene's like, okay.
You're on my shit list now.
Yeah. And like, apparently, that's not a place you want to be.
No.
So she uses her magic and she turns the external gate, which leads to Araco, into a kaiju, which is attacking the island.
Oh,
and
no.
she just leaves.
Right.
Like, it's hilarious because how does she find out about this? In the last issue, she's like standing on Krakoa looking at the external gate, and Professor X he personally comes to her and he's like, hey, listen, that there's nothing against you, and it was totally fair. The vote went this way. Here's like why. It's not you, it's us.
Right. We encourage you to try again sometime later.
Yeah, we'll keep your resume on file, and if anything comes up, we'll call you.
Yeah, but don't call us.
Yeah, so like basically Professor X is like just looking at this thing like, cool.
I asked for this.
This is something that I guess I did this.
Right.
Right? Like he tries to tell her it's beneath her.
Yeah.
So then what does she do? She leaves and goes to England where Covenant Kaba is, which is like the group that the group that's like anti-mutant. They killed Pete Wisdom.
Yeah.
They're all magical and they're jerks.
Right. And so is she. So
And
she'll be their queen.
She's gonna hang out with them with her tiny gloves and her like, fang
I call the
smile.
queen.
Yeah, and she's gonna have a drink, right?
Nah.
So everybody springs into action. Hope jumps in there as well. We have this. Listen, it's so funny because Kieran Gillen in my head is just like he's a wordsmith, right? But he also writes these like baller scenes where it's like I don't know if like he can see them or he just tells the artist, like he tells like Wernick, like, hey, this is like what I think's going on. But like he set up this scene where this kaiju, which is like essentially a big worm, is like writhing around, right? And Magneto is there. And so like
left yet.
yeah, and so like Hope's like, man, like Magneto and Storm, they're like two super strong people. They got like on the power scale, like super strong, right? They could take care of this. They'd have to work for it, right? But if they work together, it's easy. And so what does Magneto do? He just takes all the metal he can and he just like stabs it, right?
Yeah, just embeds
just
it with metal.
Like shooting out of it. And he's like, go ahead, Storm. And Storm just brings down the lightning.
Right.
And I'm like,
as if to say, please don't leave and take all of that power to another planet that doesn't matter.
Both of them are there together.
I know, yeah.
Both of them are on Arakko together now. So they can do this little like
they can do this combo move.
Come up with your own combo name, like a fastball special, but it's specifically this.
Yeah.
But it turns out like, oh no, like one of the like Destiny's having like a moment. She's like, Emma's like, hey, Destiny's a little frantic right now, so I'm gonna patch her in, and then they get, what's his name shows up. Dr. Nemesis comes in. And he's like, hey, yeah, no, actually, you can't destroy that gate.
Eat some of my mushrooms.
Just have a good time, whatever. But he's like, listen, you can't do that. The external gate is like cross-dimensional. You're messing everything up, and you're gonna actually like end up destroying more than you think.
Right, the world's gonna turn inside out,
so
or we're all
like,
gonna be frogs.
They gotta stop. They gotta turn the power off, right? So now instead, what we need to we need to figure out how to deal with this. B, there's so many mutants in that area. We need to evacuate them.
Yeah,
we have to get them out of here, right?
Totally.
Hope's on the ground. She's trying to do everything she can, but like at the end of the day, what's Hope's powers gonna do here, right?
Right. I barely know what she does.
She can mimic powers.
Yeah.
Right. So Exodus shows up. He's like, you have to go. You're really important. You're like the Messiah.
Right. I gotta believe in somebody here.
And it's you now.
Yeah.
You're my girl. You're my number one
gal.
But Hope explains to him what his powers are. And she's like, your powers, she's like, are that like the more people believe in you, the stronger you are. The more powerful you are.
Which I didn't know. I remember we had this conversation. You were like, what are Exodus's powers? And I'm like, I think he just has a lot of power. Like, all I remember is him just being powerful and him fighting Cersei, and like it just being like their power is just so much power. And so I really like the idea that Gillen's like, how about this?
I just love that because like he doesn't know it, so she's like shouting this out to him because she borrowed some of his powers,
right?
And like she says this to him, and he just goes, "What?
What? But I'm a plebe. Like I'm the one who keeps worshiping other people. You mean if people worshipped me, I'd be more powerful?" She's like, yeah, now give me your powers.
Yeah.
Because people actually do believe in me.
That's exactly what happened.
You loser.
And so the two of them combined their powers together to like create a bubble to let as many people go as possible.
Yay.
Right? Meanwhile, Sinister's like, I guess I'll do something.
Oh, thanks.
And so he goes into like his closet, gets a vial, and he's like, here we go. And he goes out into the field and he injects himself and with a bunch of basically mutant DNA. And it's like one of his first chimera trials. And so he turns himself into this huge thing the size of a kaiju, right? He's got like Wolverine claws and Daken claws and
just I am claws.
I'm all the things, right?
Yeah.
And for Starks is very much like, are you making this better or worse for us? What's going on here, man?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drag it off the island because I'm huge to try to buy you some time. I'm like, is Nathaniel Essex actually helping?
There's no other mutants that can be big.
I guess.
But okay.
I guess. Well, don't worry, he's not just big.
Yeah.
He's big and
he's big
strong.
and powerful.
He's got claws. He's got claws. He's like, but this isn't going to last long.
Oh no.
Like
I guess my body will burn out.
He's like, I only have a small amount of time before it's going to deactivate within me.
Okay.
So like, I'm going to get it as far as I can, and then that's it. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Weird that you're helping.
Yeah.
But like, maybe you recognize that like this thing's an actual problem.
Right.
I have to do something.
Yeah. This is fun because it reveals to Xavier what he's been doing.
Yeah. Exactly. So he's like, what I'm going to need from you, though, is someone to come get me. And I assumed no one was going to get him because he's just floating in the waters of Krakoa. The thing has been like destroyed for right now, but it keeps rebuilding itself. It can quickly regenerate, right? And he's just like, and I'm just out here,
and I will die.
Naked man. And Nightcrawler shows up.
Oh, yay.
They actually save him. They bamf him to shore. And like Nathaniel's like, I assume that there'll be parades and praise for me, right?
No, we're not going
And
to
he's
tell
like,
anybody
no,
who did
because
that.
you're not a hero. But then like Nightcrawler just goes, well done.
But I will give you a silent nod.
You bought us from time.
Yeah,
There's some
way to
time.
go.
And Nathaniel's like,
That wasn't worth it. Listen, you didn't die.
Professor X calls a meeting of the minds, literally, because he's like, we need to have a council meeting right now, but like we're not near one another. So he pulls everybody
So he
into
does
like
what Batman
a
does
mindscape.
with the Justice League.
Yeah. And like Emma takes a moment to like, because she's still sore about everything, which I appreciate Gillen paying attention to that. He's like, she's still mad. So like while they're there, she's like, oh, right. Yes, because of course, to me, my quiet counsel. And he's like,
shut up.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Shut up,
Emma, you're on my shit list now.
Yeah.
So they basically decide that like they need to get the captains to by them some time until they figure out how to convince Selene to get rid of it.
Right.
Right. And so like Colossus is like, are there Summers protocols for this? And the only reason I want to bring this up because like I know for a lot of people, sometimes these like info dump pages or these letter pages aren't anyone's favorite. But when Kieran Gillen writes them, they're a treasure and a delight. Because like, yes, are there Summers protocols? Yeah, of course there are. Cyclops came up with like a binder full of them, right?
Yeah.
And so of course he has one for kaijus. And like it's very specific. And I encourage you, if you have this book, make sure you read it through because I really enjoyed this because it just feels like Scott wrote it.
Yeah.
Where like it's like reminder, like, you know, if this kaiju is defined kaiju is defined as anything aggressive or ultra fauna the size of 10-story building, blah 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 blah. But if it's like smaller than that, then please see the giant protocols. And if it's larger than that, see the celestial protocols. And I'm like, of course, it's hilarious. It's cute. It's well written. It talks about anything that you should be going to get, like sea flyers, like sea angels. You need someone to like, you know, create a barrier, see Icemen.
Yeah.
Like it'll tell you every mutant on this island who has these powers.
Right.
Who can help you out in this.
There you go.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
They determine that again, they're trying to figure out how to deal with Selene. Meanwhile, Destiny and Mystique go to Hope, who is like a bunch of the survivors there. And Destiny's like, okay, so I had a vision of Selene at a window and then she dies. And Hope's like, how probable is that? And she's like, now that we've had this conversation, it just became even more so. And the idea here is that Hope Summers is going to go kill Selene.
Okay.
And it's like, but how do you kill that which cannot die? Well, she gets close enough to magic to steal some of her powers, and she gates herself to where she needs to be. But don't forget whose daughter she is, right? So she gets her gun and she fills it with Mysterium. The metal that they created, and then she's like, a regular bullet couldn't do it, but this thing can do all kinds of stuff.
Plus, it's a fucking signature.
Yeah. So, I freaking love too that like as she's falling out of this, she's like, you know, of course I have powers and stuff like that, but like this shot, like not a lot of people could make this shot. And then she just goes, thanks, Dad.
No.
I'm like, duh, as she kills
Cable.
Selene. And like she does. She just takes it down and then like they bring her back.
What?
Immediately.
Oh, I guess so she's not there anymore.
They bring her back immediately in Krakoa, right? And so she's just like all messed up. And then like Exodus grabs her, takes control of her mind, figures out how to turn the thing off, and then he kills her.
What?
He just snaps her neck. I was like, this is brutal.
Yeah, they kill her and bring her back just to kill her again.
Yeah, because like they wouldn't be able to do this. Like they wouldn't be able to have that type of control over her, except that she was dazed, having just been reborn.
Right.
So that was the only opportunity they had.
Okay.
I was like, freaking incredible.
Damn.
Like, yeah. So then Hope has to go before the council, and they're like, to be fair, it did save lives.
Right.
And she didn't break any rules, and Selene had. And had they brought her back because she attacked the land, they would have had to throw her in the hole. They would have had a trial for her.
Right.
And so inevitably, when she is brought back, they're going to have a trial for Selene.
Sure, yeah.
Because she broke the cardinal law.
Yeah.
Of like, do not hurt Krakoa, basically, right?
Respect this land, yeah.
Yeah, respect this land. Don't do it. So we see that Hope and Exodus are pals now.
Yeah.
Like,
so you taught me a thing about me. And...
Destiny reminded us that like she had a conversation with a Nathaniel Essex at one point. We don't know which one, and that's going to come up at somewhere in the future. And then Destiny has like a seizure.
Good.
So I don't know what's going on there, but like this issue was so freaking well written, and like Gillen just proved that not only can he write excellent prose, but he knows how to write action sequences. So like an artist can take them and run with them.
Yeah.
This was fun and just everybody's voice was perfect for me.
Yep.
And the pacing was incredible.
Yay.
And I was like, oh, this is exciting. This was an exciting issue. And that's what I like books to feel like sometimes. I'm happy to have books that are quiet, but there should be some level of excitement there.
Absolutely.
Even if it's a personal excitement for you, but this was exciting. And it didn't have to just be like a mindless excitement.
Right.
It wasn't like that summer blockbuster feel, which is fine too. But like it was like simultaneously intelligent and just super exciting action packed.
Yay.
Such a good book. Loved it.
Mortal X-Men at number 2.
So like I had to tell you about that much because it's like seriously, you got to read it because the words alone.
Yeah.
The way in which he puts the dialogue together and the art, you didn't get to see the art. You got to see this art.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Paul Williams says, hi, hope you're doing well today. Just picked up my copy of Batman Fable crossover, and I don't know if I'm more surprised this exists or the bookworm is in it. That's fair. I think it's a little bit of both from him, my friend. So let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should buy.
Let's do it.
Obviously, I'm gonna. It's only on issue 2, so we'll check it out. I am sick to death of the cover. I'm like, F you. But Amazing Spider-Man number 2, Hulk number 7. I'm reading Hulk, and it's silly and weird and fun, but I'm enjoying it. It's still got. Actually, this one has Martin Kokolo doing the art, so we'll see what happens. But should be fun. Batman Beyond the White Knight number 3 comes out tomorrow. I'm going to recommend it because it's going to push me to go back and then read the first 3 issues so I can actually get into it again. Devil's Reign is getting a little wrap up because Chip Zdarsky can't help himself.
So is Matt there.
Yeah. But this is called Devil's Reign Omega number 1. This one is actually written by a number of our writers, including Zdarsky, Daniel Barnes, and our pal Jim Zub. So congratulations to them. And yeah, check that out because it's just a little bit more.
That's true.
A little more. DC vs. Vampires getting its first and probably many spin-offs called DC vs. Vampires Hunters number 1, in which Damian Wayne is a vampire hunter. I couldn't care less, but well, whatever. And Punisher number 3 is coming out from Jason Aaron and Paul Azekta. But yeah, this is a great series. If you aren't reading Punisher, you should be. It's awesome. I'm just loving it. Also, and this is just a thing, Batman Fortress number 1 is coming out. I assume it's a Black Label book because I don't know. It could be a miniseries.
It doesn't look like it.
I don't know. But the reason why I thought so is because it's written by Gary White, or Witta, I should say, who wrote Rogue One, like the movie.
What?
Like DC is like, who from the movies can we get? And so they got Greg Witta.
Okay.
Or Gary Witta, I should say, with art by Derek Robertson.
Oh.
The concept is like Superman's away and there's an alien invasion. How's Batman solve it? And
It's weird that it doesn't have a Elseworld or
it's got nothing on it. I have no idea.
Interesting.
I know, but I love the idea of
it's a miniseries.
So it's like it's a miniseries. It's another Bat miniseries, but it's still a Bat book. But the premise, I was like, yeah, okay, I kind of want to read that. Like Superman's away, there's an alien invasion. Batman, you're up. What do we do about that? I'm like, fair enough.
Batman, you're up.
You're on. So yeah, those are what I recommend.
Nice. Something is Killing the Children number 23 is coming out this week for
you sixth fans.
I was like, how do I say this? I don't know.
Sickos.
Legion of X number 1 is finally coming out, written by Cy Spurrier with art by Jan Bazaldua. I'm interested in this for sure. Kind of getting back to that.
This is that continuation of those
the
those
Way of
books.
X.
Way of X.
Way of X. Getting back to that. So I'm here. I'm here for that for sure. I love Cy Spurrier's work, so hopefully it continues to be excellent. I don't automatically say it's going to be.
No,
because you never know.
You do never know.
But you gotta give a shout out to the writers you like and give them a try at least.
That's right.
I've kind of fallen off of Swamp Thing, but not because it's bad, just because
we got a lot of books.
I kind of felt it's one of those where it's like it's the stack.
Well, it's also not one of those like unmissable books. It's just like
it is good though.
It is good, but it's not as
it's very good. But like it's become a stack now, and I'm like,
yeah,
I just got to do it. I got to bite the bullet. But I still want to let you guys know that Swamp Thing number 13 is coming out. Task Force Z, a book I keep reading for no reason, is coming out. I don't know if I really recommend it, but it's number 8, and I'm
still reading. You've read all 8 issues.
Probably gonna read it. For whatever.
Yep.
Bloodstained Teeth number 2. I kind of enjoyed that book. So I
know.
think I'm gonna have to grab that. It's coming out because vampires, baby. Vampires.
They're back.
I got to shout out to Philadelphia getting to issue number 22.
Right?
Seriously. Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. But my big 2 wait, is there really only like one X book coming out?
It looks like it.
Is that possible?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh god.
Which means they definitely could have just pushed a couple of them to this week,
Yeah, that would have been better.
which would have been good for everybody. But whatever.
That would have been better. It would have been easier.
Marvel Comics doesn't know how to sell comic books.
I don't know. Anyway, but my big two other ones that are coming out: Moon Knight number 11, written by Jed McKay with art by Alessandro Cappuccio, is coming out. I've really been enjoying this run, so hey, keep it coming, Jed, keep it coming. And then of course Saga number 59 is coming out, written by Brian K. Vaughan with art by Fiona Staples. I really love this cover.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
it's so
it's just
simple.
It's a fish.
It's so beautiful,
but
though.
It's gorgeous.
It is so pretty,
and it's hers. It's one of those things
it's
where
just
it's like
I gotta tell you, I don't know. I really it's so simple but like
Yeah.
gorgeous, so beautiful.
That's a series, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are books that are coming out that we think you should buy. Don't forget to
Yes.
like this video, subscribe to our channel, and visit twitch.tv/ComicPop for more.
Where are all the Black Label books I've been reading?
Right? That you have been reading?
Yes,
They're over there.
No, I know, but the next issues.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know. DC man.
Give them to me.
TCO. But yeah, let us know more if you are watching this after the fact. So, comment and tell us how you enjoy the show, and check out more on youtube.com/ComicPop, and of course here on this channel as well. Yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next time with an all new episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
So long.
Bye.